In this video, we will discuss two new Alteryx tools, continuing from the last video. And both of these tools are in the Transform group. They are Running Total, which we'll make a favorite, and Summarize, which is already a favorite. So here's our workflow where we left off last time. And we had done a lot of things to our data that was at this node. We had done a lot of different things to illustrate the different tools that we introduced in the last video. The multi-row formula tool, the unique tool, and so forth. So let's run our workflow. Let's look at the data at this node here. This should look familiar. So here's our data. And let's introduce the Running Total tool, which has been put right here, and then the Summarize tool. But what we want to do here, before we do that, for example, let's do the Running Total tool. Let's hook a Running Total tool. I'm going to put it over here. And let's just try to do something, and then you'll see why we need to do something before we do this. So here's the tool configuration for Running Total. Suppose we want to group by job category, and we want a running total of, well, salary. Well, it won't let us. Salary isn't one of the choices here. Why? Because salary is a string variable, not a numeric variable. It only lists the variables here that are numeric, that we could do a running total on. We can group by any of the variables, but we can only do a running total on the numeric variables. So we can't even do a running total on salary because salary is a string variable. Why is salary a string variable? If you remember last time or earlier in our video series, salary has a $sign and a comma in it, and those aren't numeric characters. The 57,000 by itself is a numeric, but the dollar and the comma sign make this a string. So what we want to do before we do our running total, we want to convert salary, beginning salary, and salary difference, those three variables, from string to numeric. And then we can introduce the running total and the summarize tools. So to do that, we can't just use the select tool. Let's try to use the select tool again just to show you. You'd think, oh, that's how we convert data types, is we use a select tool. And that's true. You do use a select tool to convert data types for some data types, or for some variables. But here, if we try to convert salary to double, for example, remember salary has a $sign and a comma in it. If we hit run, look at the output, salary now becomes all null. And it's because Alteryx can't convert a $sign and a comma to a number. We have to remove the $sign and the comma and just leave the 27,000, and then we could convert it. So to remove the $sign and a comma, we have to use a formula tool. So let's get rid of the select tool. Grab a formula tool. And you've seen me do this before in a previous video. All right. We're going to create three new columns. One we'll call salary, and we'll put in parentheses dollars in dollars because that column's not going to be dollars. Like the numbers aren't going to be dollars. They're just going to be numbers. And so to let people know that that's a dollar variable, we're going to have to put dollars parentheses. And what are we going to do? This new column is going to be the old salary column. But that's what the old salary column is. So what we want to do is we want to replace, if you recall, replace character. What character in our salary or in our salary variable, and here's the first observation on that variable. What characters do we want to replace? We want to replace the $ and the comma with just nothing. So remember to do that, comma, quotes, dollar, comma, in quotes. So here's the string we want to replace characters in. Here are the characters we want to replace in this string. And what do we want to replace these characters with? We want to replace it with nothing. And you see the data preview now, it becomes 57,000. That's still a string. See here? We can't just convert to double here though, because that's still a string. So we have to do another function, remember, to number. And then we're going to create another column for the beginning salary. In dollars. And that's just going to be this expression, but we're going to replace salary with beginning salary here. Just change the variable to beginning salary. And then we're going to change this to double. And then finally, our salary difference variable, we convert that to numeric. Oh, whoops, put it twice. This way and change this to double. Whoops, not string. Double. All right. And then we're going to run our workflow. Look at the output from our formula tool here. There should be 3 new columns. There's our old salary, beginning salary, salary difference columns, but then we have salary, beginning salary, salary difference, and just the numbers, no $ or commas. And now what we can do is use a select tool, get rid of our old salary, get rid of our string salary, beginning salary, and salary difference variables. And we can move those down to the bottom. And then our salary difference, beginning salary, and salary variables that are now numeric, we can bring those up where they should be, right between job category and education. Run our workflow. And now we have the same data we had before, only now the salaries, beginning salary, and salary difference are numeric. All right? And now we can introduce the running total tool. Look, now we can create a running total. There's 3 extra variables here. We can create a running total on our salary, our beginning salary, our salary difference, because those are 3 extra numeric variables. But actually, we don't want to do it on salary. With the summarize tool, we'll do stuff with salary. So we had to convert salary to a numeric anyway, because when we use the summarize tool, you'll see that. But let's just, I'm going to show you that, if you recall when we were doing showing you the multi-row formula tool, one thing we had done is we had calculated the running total of time on job in years. And here was the running total. And we did it using the multi-row formula tool, and we had to write this formula. We had to think carefully about what formula to write to get the correct expression. And the running total started over when we started a new job category. So this is essentially a running total by job category, if you recall. The hybrid job category, then it starts over and does a running total of the time on job in years for the manual job category and so forth. We can do that very quickly with a running total tool, much faster than a multi-row tool. So all you do is you would select, how are we grouping by? What are we calculating the running total by job category? And let's say we want to do the running total of time on job in years. Hit apply, hit run. If we look at the output, here's our running total of time on job in years, and it looks just like we did when we did the multi-row formula tool. Then it starts over when we get to the end of the hybrid job and we start over with the manual job category. And we're just calculating a running total of this column. So that's what running total does. We can calculate the running total of time on job in years. Excuse me. We can calculate the running total of salary and time on job in years, for example. Now if we run that, there'll be two columns, one for running total of salary and one for running total of time on job in years. Or I think I clicked beginning salary here so that you can see the two running total columns. And then it starts over when we start a new job category. As you can see, both columns start over when we move from the hybrid to the manual job category. All right, that's the running total tool. Pretty simple. Now let's look at the summarize tool. So let's put a summarize tool. We'll put it right here. All right, summarize is a little more powerful. Here's the tool configuration for summarize. Suppose we want to know the average salary of each job category. Or suppose we want to know how many jobs there are in our data set of each job category. How many people have a manual job? How many people have a hybrid job? Things of that nature. So we would choose job category here. And down here, we would choose the option group by. And suppose we just wanted to know the simple count of the people in each job category. Then we would choose job category again, and we're grouping by job category, and we're just counting the job category. Then we hit run, and here's the output. Here's the job category, and here's the number of people in each job category. So 27 of our people in our data set have a hybrid job. Most of them have a manual job, and then 83 have an office job. Very simple, right? Suppose by job category, we also wanted the average salary. So then we would click salary. We want the average. It's down here in the numeric. Notice if salary was a string variable, not a numeric variable, then when we went down here to find the average, all these would be grayed out. You can't take the average of a string variable. That's why we had to convert salary, beginning salary, salary difference to numeric in the beginning with our two-step process that we did with our formula tool and our select tool. So here if we click average, so now there will be a little table. Whoops. Here's the output. Come on. Here's the output. Here's our job category. Here's how many people in each job category. Here's the average salary of each job category. Not surprising. Manual job category, the average salary is the lowest, then hybrid, and then the office jobs make the most on average. So you can see the summarize tool is really cool. It can quickly calculate descriptive statistics for your data. Suppose out of curiosity we wanted to further group. We don't just want to group by job category, but within job category, we want to group by gender. So we would add gender as a group by. And it doesn't matter if gender is down here or it's up beside job category. What this is going to do is it's going to group the data by job category first, then by gender. It's going to count for each job category gender combination, how many people are in that combination, and what's the average salary of that combination. So we can move this right up here underneath job category, but it doesn't have to be right underneath it. It's going to group by job category first and then group by gender second. And what's it calculating for that subgrouping? The count and the average salary. And so this will be the output. The hybrid job category, there weren't any females. Otherwise, there would be females here. So there's only males. Their average salary was this. The manual job category, there were 204 of them were female, 152 were male. The average salaries of the female, the average salaries of the males. Office job category, there were 10 females, 73 males. Average salary of the females, average salary of the males. Not surprisingly, the average salary of the males is higher than the average salaries of the females. You see that in data all the time. It may be because there is gender discrimination, but it may not be because of that. It may be because the males are working more hours. I mean, if this really is true salary is a fixed amount no matter how many hours you work. But I bet you the word salary here doesn't necessarily mean that, because these manual jobs likely are hourly. And maybe the males are working more hours and that's why they're making more money. Hopefully that's the case. If that's not the case, then obviously these we could point to, if the females and males are working the exact same number of hours and they're making, and this is the disparity, this would be the evidence of gender discrimination in terms of salary. Or I guess you could argue we'd have to also see, do the females and the males have the same level of previous experience? Because if you have more experience, you're going to get paid more per hour. So we could group by previous experience, and let's do that. So let's job category, then gender, then by previous, and then group by previous experience. That was a variable, right? We could do education as well, but let's do previous experience. And I just want to put the group bys up together. So we're grouping by job category, then gender, then previous experience. But the thing is, we don't want to, we don't want to group by previous experience. We just want the average previous experience. And we can put this last, that's fine. Now if we look at our output from our summarize tool. So for the hybrid job category, they're all males. There's their average salary. That's their average previous experience in years. For the manual job category, the females, there's 204 of them. The males is 152. Average salary of the females, $25,006. Average salary of the males. The females do have slightly less previous experience, over a year less previous experience. Is that enough to justify $6,000 less average salary? I don't know. And then for the office job category, the females make considerably less. They do have 2 years previous experience, on average less. So you can see what the summarize tool can do. It can really help you to see your data, see some statistics about your data. If you look here at the statistics you could possibly choose, I mean, there's all kinds. We can get the max salary. We can do max here. Max salary in the hybrid job category, they're all males. It was $35,250. The max salary in the manual job category for the females was $54,000. For the males, it was $80,000. Office job category for the females, the max salary was $58,000. For the males, it was $135,000. And that concludes this video.